Now that we're back, Season 8, Episode 9 of The Rookie, Fun and Games, offers yet another emotional roller coaster. An initially humorous episode soon becomes one of the season's most emotionally complex. This episode serves as a reminder of the show's enduring appeal through tragedy, professional stress, and some much-needed comedy relief. Viewers are left feeling conflicted and devastated by Gray and Luna's storyline, which is at the heart of the emotional storm. Episode 9 of Gray and Luna. Love tested in The Rookie Season 8. One of the strongest relationships on the program has always been Gray and Luna. Deep love, devotion, and respect for one another have been the cornerstones of their stable marriage. The events in Fun and Games are particularly traumatic because of this. Luna finds herself falling in love with someone else, not because she doesn't love Gray or because her marriage is failing, but rather because she experienced something novel and surprisingly significant. It seems a little out of character for Luna on the one hand. It is shocking to see her struggle with attraction outside of her marriage because she has always been depicted as emotionally mature and loyal. This is precisely what takes place. This is handled subtly throughout the episode. Luna doesn't express her emotions. She doesn't violate clear limits or physically betray Gray. Rather, because she loves her spouse so much, she attempts to repress her emotions. However, emotions are not switches that you can turn off. She can't lie when Gray questions her directly about it. And even though it is morally correct, that honesty is disastrous. Luna decides not to go after anything. She suppresses her emotions. However, that doesn't lessen the impact for Gray. He is devastated by his wife's emotional attachment to another man. From his point of view, he finds it impossible to love anybody else the way he loves her. Even if nothing physical occurred, learning that Luna has gone through that emotional change feels like a betrayal. Gray's willingness to attempt is what makes it even more tragic. At first, he wants to overcome his anguish. He hopes that their marriage will endure this. His heartache worsens though when Luna acknowledges that she still has feelings despite her best efforts to suppress them. It becomes more difficult to tolerate that remaining emotional attachment. Their once sturdy base feels shaky for the first time. We are left feeling both hopeful and terrified by the show. Although their love is clear, suffering cannot be eliminated by love alone. How they handle this delicate time will determine if they can return stronger. Nyla and Miles. Returning to the fundamentals. Nyla and Miles bring professional tension in a very different way than Gray and Luna, who bring emotional intensity. Nyla and Miles end up patrolling together. Neither of them seems to be happy about the arrangement. Nyla has a reputation for being strict, especially with newcomers. She has high expectations and doesn't think twice about recommending someone be fired if they aren't qualified for the position. Her approach to training is straightforward, demanding, and results-oriented. Miles is aware of her reputation. At first, he plays things safe rather than attempting to impress her with audacious intuition. He tries to avoid taking chances and making blunders. However, Nyla prefers confidence and instinct over cautious obedience. She needs evidence that he has what it takes to be a successful police officer. So she modifies her strategy. Instead of just condemning him, she puts him in circumstances that need independent thought and decisive action. It's a sink-or-swim approach, but it's based on experience. Nyla is aware that observation alone is not enough to become an expert in policing. It needs to be done. Errors teach us valuable lessons. For Miles, things don't always go as planned. Stumbles occur. Tension is present. However, growth is also present. By the end of their shift, it's evident that Miles has more promise than he first demonstrates. He demonstrates that he can grow from his impetuous past and make better choices. He develops more throughout this one shift than he did during his other training sessions. Despite their intensity, Nyla's tactics are effective. But Nyla's plot isn't limited to instruction. It also has to do with her fragility. She has been compelled to don the uniform once more and serve as a training officer, a role in which she excels. Because Nyla doesn't compromise, her trainees have historically gone on to become some of the best cops in the department. She doesn't sugarcoat it when someone doesn't measure up. However, things are different this time. Nyla is being assessed in addition to Miles, as Angela reminds her. She is in a precarious position right now. Controversy is not something she can afford. She cannot casually suggest termination. She must be cautious and keep a low profile. That's a painful fact. In the past, Nyla was practically untouchable in her competence and operated with confidence and authority. She has to prove herself once more now. Although slight, the change in power dynamics is substantial. It explains part of her frustration and gives her stern exterior more emotional depth. She is battling to maintain her own status in addition to pushing Miles. Comedy and chaos, Nolan and Selena. Nolan and Selena, who come across a series of wild and humorously unpredictable witnesses, balance the heavier themes. An otherwise emotionally charged episode is made lighter by their scenes. Viewers are reminded that police frequently entails negotiating strange human behavior by the ridiculousness of certain witness testimonies, miscommunications, and exaggerated personalities. In order to prevent the episode from becoming unduly gloomy, these lighter moments provide the essential tone contrast. The show's ongoing strength of fusing drama with grounded comedy is reinforced by the humor, which doesn't feel forced. Concluding remarks on Fun and Games. Fun and Games presents some of the most emotionally taxing scenes of the season, despite its lighthearted title. It looks at growth, vulnerability, professional integrity, and emotional faithfulness. The plot of Gray and Luna examines the unsettling reality that love is susceptible to human emotions. Unexpected attraction can occur. How such emotions are managed and whether or not both parties can restore trust when being honest hurts them are what characterize a relationship. The cooperation between Nyla and Miles supports the notion that pressure leads to growth. Teachers who put in the most effort might sometimes have the most influence. Even the most capable leaders must, however, adjust when their own stability is questioned. Additionally, Nolan and Selena serve as a reminder that life can still be messy, chaotic, and even humorous even in the face of tragedy and professional stress. Fun and Games is about consequences, maturity, and facing difficult realities rather than lighter enjoyment. We are both hopeful and concerned for Gray and Luna. It depicts Miles taking charge. It demonstrates Nyla's ability to bounce back from adversity. If this episode demonstrates anything, it's that even the most solid foundations are susceptible to fractures, albeit these fractures don't necessarily result in collapse. Sometimes they're only the start of a stronger reconstruction.